Happy Friday, everybody. Real estate, it's that simple, huh?
Yes.
A lot of people thinking about real estate as they go into the weekend, and so we should talk about it today.
Not to mention it's picking up.
It is. Is it really?
It is.
Well, I want to say hi to everybody. I'm Rick Garcia, along with real estate expert extraordinaire Phil Nordella.
You know, I was actually very excited about last week's show until I got home.
The debut, the premiere.
Yeah. And I got home and I looked at my wife and I was waiting for her to say, "My God, it was awesome." And I said, "So?" And she goes, "Boy, Rick's got a great voice." And I went, "You led with that? I mean, couldn't you have done
Well, that was nice. That was nice of Judy.
Yeah. She's a nice person.
She is a nice person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
anyway.
So, the real estate, it's that simple is the name of the show. The purpose of the show, though, is to try to prove that point.
Yes.
I mean, real estate is one of the more complicated issues that we deal with in our lives, and most of us have to deal with it at some point or another, right?
Absolutely. It's the most expensive thing that they will probably ever sell in their lifetime. They might do it once, twice, maybe 3 times in their entire lifetime. And there's so many layers to actually making sure that you have a successful transaction and net the maximum amount that you could actually possibly get. And also at the end of it, make sure that you've got to be completely protected because, unfortunately, we're in a sue-happy society.
Well, and so you being on your third decade as a realtor, you've owned companies, you've bought your own properties personally. Why does it have to be so stressful?
I think one of the biggest problems, and I hate to throw attorneys under the bus, but I think attorneys have made it to the point where, I mean, I was told before I got in, and I've been in almost 30 years, and before that, I was, heard stories, fireside chats about realtors talking about the fact that the purchase agreement was 2 pages long. And it's like, oh, that's awesome. Now, if you actually get into CAR forms, there are 359 contracts, addendums, and modifications that you can use. 359.
Yeah.
Right?
And most people don't want to spend hours upon hours reading everything that they have to read. It'd be nice if we could simplify some of those forms. But that's why you're here, right? That is the reason you have employment.
Exactly. And I like it. I actually do like it, which is interesting because I'm a people person, and even though it gets crazy, I'm very good at what I do, and I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but
too late.
But it's is it? Oh shoot! Can you rewind that? But it's one of those things you have to love it, and it's a tough business. It's tough.
We have lots of stuff in store for you over the next hour. We're going to get into the numbers here in Santa Clarita Valley. And also, Phil loves to share. He's had a horror story or two, which we will get into later on in the show. We're going to be joined by the mayor of Santa Clarita, Mayor Cameron Smythe, and talk about the state of the union for our community out here. So
really
that's something we would like to talk about as well.
SCV, by the numbers.
Yay!
We're so excited to talk about. These are the X's and O's. If you're thinking about this in sports terminology, we're in the X's and O's now.
These better be good numbers. I mean, if with that lead in. Okay, so let's talk about active listings in Santa Clarita. We talked about it last week. There were 300.
Active listing means what?
Oh, active listings means actually currently for sale. If you actually called your realtor and said, "I want to see it," and I can't say that there are no offers on it, but they are not in escrow, so that they are available to be seen. And you call your agent and say, "I want to see this one," and we look it up, and it's
because sometimes, at me as a buyer, if I'm looking for a property and I see a sign on a in the front lawn of somebody's house,
right.
It's possible the house is not available, and there are different ways. So active, you have also pending.
Yes. Active, we have active under contract, which just means that they're saying that they're still active, but they are under contract, which means they've already got somebody in line. If for some reason you're actually going to show the property, then that's basically for backup offers.
But so you can make an offer, but it would be a backup offer.
Exactly right. Okay. Then you have pending. Pending just says, look, we're not interested in anything. We've got it going. So don't worry about it. Now, last week, we had 316 active listings. This week we have 362.
Okay.
What does that tell us? It tells us that things are picking up. The Christmas holiday's over. People are start saying, okay, we were dormant for a while, and now it's time for us to think about moving. So that's a good thing.
Is that typical, by the way, in the real estate market, to where holidays things slow down and then after the first of the year they pick up, or not necessarily?
Honestly, for the last, I don't know how many years, it went great guns all the way through the end of the year. But for some reason this year, it seemed to slow down a little bit. And there's a joke that the average realtor takes off from just before Thanksgiving and comes back the 10th or 11th of January.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So
Life is good.
Yeah, for some. Okay, so sold the last 7 days were 37. The last 30 actually closed 224. Expired listings, which tells you that they were probably priced too high in the last 7 days. We had 2. 8 were canceled. People just decided, you know what, either I don't want to put up with it or I'm not going to get the price that I want, and so we're going to take them off. And 11 were withdrawn, which is similar to actual canceled. The only thing withdrawn just says, I'm still thinking about putting it back up. Canceled says, I'm through.
Now, these numbers compared to when you've seen the market at its peak would be what?
The average, and this is interesting, so if you're thinking of actually listing, what you want to do is you want to actually be on the market prior to it going back to what it normally is. And over the last, 5 or 6 years, there was the average amount of listings on the market were between 500 and 600. In a terrible market, we had as many as 1,400 active listings. Las Vegas at one time had 15,000 active listings.
Wow.
So,
my gosh.
yeah, so you got a good deal in Vegas. So it is one of those things where if you are actually thinking of listing, you might want to do it sooner than later because the more listings, the more competition.
These numbers sometimes are symbolic of what we've called, I guess, a seller's market or a buyer's market, right?
Exactly.
Can you explain the difference?
Right now, yeah, actually. So
Thank you, but that's why you're here, by the way.
Absolutely. It's interesting
I
that you
asked
would
the
ask
question,
me a
you answered
question about real estate. That's so weird because I know a lot about real estate. Okay, buyer's market, seller's market. Obviously, a buyer's market is pretty simple, and that is when you get a ton of listings and the average marketing time for those listings keeps going up and up and up and up and up when it comes to the on-market time. The prices start coming down, the buyer starts realizing better deals. That's a buyer's market. A seller's market is when you have very few listings and you have a ton of buyers out there.
Yeah.
And as soon as you actually list, we went through a time where when you listed, you had 15 offers within 2 days. Wow. That's crazy. And that obviously drives the market up because now you're talking about people, they're competing against each other, and that's what drives the actual values up.
So are we at a kind of a more of an average
it's a
or
neutral.
normal? Neutral.
It's a neutral right now. I would have to say it's a good time to buy. It's a good time to sell. Interest rates are terrific. And speaking of interest rates, let's kind of go over them.
Yeah.
Because it is by the numbers. So Marla Ferris from Augusta Financial, who gives us all of our information, and she's terrific, by the way. I've been using her for 23 years now. Conventional loans are pretty much the same. Conventional loans are up to $510,400. They start around 3.6%. High balance loans of 510 to 765 start right around 3.875. Jumbo loans over 765,000 start at about 4%. An interesting thing that happened this week, however, is even though FHA and VA loans start around 3.25, they actually raised the VA.
Just going to hold it for a second. Go ahead. Keep going. I mean,
they actually raised the VA loan amount to where there is no
cap?
There's no limit.
Oh, okay.
Now you're only going to buy so much, I would imagine, but I think it could go $2-3 million.
Wow,
which is fascinating.
Dude, that's probably the highest it's been
ever.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking again on these unconventional. So if you're in a house or a property that's worth, or you're trying to sell it or buy it for $510,000 or less, you're conventional. You're seeking a conventional loan.
Exactly.
Anything above 510 is considered a high balance loan. But once you get past $765,000, $100,000. What am I saying?
$765,000.
You're in the jumbo area, and thus the difference in the interest rate.
Exactly right. So to kind of give you an example when it comes to the numbers, let's just kind of go over it. If you were buying a $600,000 home, right, and you put 5% down, which would be $30,000 obviously, which your loan amount would be $570,000. Your principal and interest for what the going interest rate is right now is about $2,680 a month. That's only principal and interest. If you were to add taxes and insurance, I've actually added taxes. I didn't add insurance because insurance right now is kind of all over the board depending on where you're at. If you added the taxes with no Belarus, you're looking at another $625 a month, and that's your total is about $3,300.
So $3,300. That's 5% down on a $600,000 purchase price.
Right.
Are there loans for a while there. I remember 2008, 2009, they were lending you 110% of the value, and we saw what happened to our country at that time. Right now, you're going to need a minimum of what percentage probably to buy a home?
Goes all the way down to nothing. I mean, if it's a VA
no
loan,
money
it's
down.
no
Okay.
money down. I mean, FHA, you're looking at as low as 3%. And then all the way up to conventionals. I think conventionals actually start at 10 and go higher, obviously.
So the payment of $3,300, including taxes, but not insurance, for a $600,000 loan, 5% down, $3,300 a month. Where does that stack up vis-a-vis renting? I mean, are we? It's pretty close, isn't it? Depending on what you want to.
Actually, it is. It's very it compares. The only difference is obviously the problem with renting is you don't get your write-offs. You don't get any appreciation.
You don't get that money back too.
Exactly right. Yeah. And that's a challenge. But and because rentals are going up and up and up, and there's a lot of people that are buying investment properties to rent out. And so what we try to do is we try to actually go and approach a lot of the renters out there because they don't know that they can actually buy.
Right.
Because sometimes they just don't have the information, and if they knew that they could buy at 3% down, they would put more people on the market. So that's what we try to do. We try to actually go after certain demographics when it comes to that.
Well, I think people always get nervous about the down payment sometimes, right?
Yep, exactly right. They think that they can't do it, or they don't know what their credit rating is, and instead of checking into it. So going by the numbers, I've actually pulled up some fun things. Okay, first thing is I wanted to say that the housing market is looking very, very good. What they do is the builder confidence has hit a 20-year high, which is terrific. Okay, and that's how they decide. Real estate's interesting because you can have a great market, and then one little thing will tick up, or something will hit the news, and everybody panics, and everybody just stops, and it's like you can hear the screech of the tires in the street, and so any good thing that we actually hear actually stimulates things, and it brings what they call stability. Stability is what the buyers and sellers look for when it comes to making any sort of move. So the neat thing is builder confidence hits a 20-year high. I'm going to actually read this here. It says, that's why the National Association of Home Builders, they measure builder confidence each month. If builders are optimistic in building homes, that's a good chance that the overall housing market is also doing well. In December, the NAHB Housing Market Index, which is scored on a scale where any number above 50 indicates that more builders view conditions as good than poor, reached 76. And it even rose to 7 more points to 84. So what that's telling us is, and this is really important for real estate, what's that telling us is that the builders are putting in the millions and millions of dollars that they need because we do need housing no matter what. We're growing. And the exciting thing for realtors and the exciting things for buyers and sellers is that actually stimulates people saying, you know what, I love the model home. I want to buy it, which tells you that they have to sell their home, and then everything kind of goes from there. And there's so many different industries that actually benefit from people buying and selling homes, and it's not just realtors, right? I mean, there's hundreds of people that actually become involved in your average sale. So that was kind of a fun thing.
So a question for you. Would we have a caller on the line? We can either take the call, or do you have some other numbers you want to get in? What would you like to do?
No, sure. No, we can
take the call. All right.
We can do the metrics and the analytics later.
Okay. We have Natalie from Valencia. Hi, Natalie. What's your question for Phil Nordella?
Oh, hi. Yes, I'm thinking of getting my real estate license, and Phil, I was wondering if you think that's a good idea, and if so, do you have any advice that you could give me?
Well, yes, actually. Thank you, Natalie, for calling. That's exciting. Actually, you want to join us crazies, which is terrific. Let me just go over some of the things when it comes to getting your license. So you haven't. Let me just ask you a quick question. So you haven't actually. You're actually going to be thinking about it. So you probably need a way to whether you have to decide whether or not you're going to want to go to school or whether you going to want to do it over the internet, correct? So you haven't actually gotten your license yet. Okay.
Right.
So that's the first thing that you're going to have to decide, whether or not you want to actually have a live instructor or whether you want to just do it over the internet. And people are different. People decide, you know what, there's no way that I could actually concentrate on my home, on my computer, and so I have to have an actual teacher. I will tell you that there's kind of a disconnect in Santa Clarita right now when it comes to live classes. There was only a couple of them, and we used to have one at Realty Executives when I owned that, but it wasn't great. I'll be honest. We put a lot of people through the actual live class, and not a lot of people graduated. So it was one of those things to where it's tough. So I have to say that if you're going to study for your test and you need somebody, the live classroom situation, then I suggest you actually, and I'd like for you to stay on the line later, and we can talk about, I can help you get licensed, and I can help you, decide after you get licensed of who you should see when it comes to how you interview.
Yeah, I raised my hand like
Sure.
I'm in the classroom. I
Sure.
have a question,
I call
Professor.
on Rick Garcia.
Front row.
Yep.
So I got my license online, which was wonderful for me. But I have a friend who right now is just finishing up classes. She took local classes, and that was the best way to do it for her. So you're right. There are two ways you can approach it.
Right.
I really did enjoy the online experience. I like being there by myself. Now the truth is, if you got kids running around the house, or anytime somebody got home from soccer
tough.
practice, there all kinds of noise in the home, it can be tough.
You know how I said I'd always pull the curtain back on the real estate industry? You ready for this? You ready for these numbers? And Natalie, don't let this scare you. We had a class. We actually hired a company to come up and teach to help actually people get licensed, and we did that probably for about, I want to say 3 years. We put a lot of people through the class, and it was a class that if you think about it, it was like 10 classes, 2 hours of class. It's 20 hours to try to teach you, the entire thing to take your test. We put over 300 people through that class, 300, and out of 300. Would you like to pick a number of how many actually got licensed? I'll pick you, Rick.
Out of 300,
Out of 300, how many actually got licensed?
Well, I would hope it'd be more than 50%.
It was 30.
Wow.
Not 30%.
30 people?
30 people, which
man.
is 10% if you're scoring at home. That's not good.
Bring your calculator.
Yeah. So I think what happens a lot of times, and again, Natalie, if you're going to do this, you're gonna want to, if you're going to actually ask for a teacher in a classroom, make sure it's going to be a good school. Okay, that's important.
And I would add too, for the doing it online, that what was beneficial for me, what I liked most about it, was you could come back to it anytime you wanted to. I wasn't stuck scheduling everything around that 5 to 7 class or that 7 to 9 class, and I could go in, go out when I wanted to. The holidays rolled around, I could skip it for a few days and then come back to it.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, if we had time, I would go through all of the things that you need to know when it comes to getting your license, and then when you get your license, how to interview and all of the things that you need to look for, because training is important. And so if you've got the time, let me give you my number.
Yeah, anybody can call you, by the way. Anybody listening out there who has the same question, they can call you. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just give me a call, Natalie, at 661-312-3561. 661-312-3561. I'll be more than happy to help you out.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Natalie. We appreciate you calling into real estate. It's that simple, and it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. I think for me it took I want to say 3 months, maybe 2 to 3 months. Now the holidays were right in the middle of that, Christmas and New Year's. This was a couple of years ago, and so that interrupted it for me. But I was also focused, and I kind of treated it like my job, or like I was in college. In that when the wife and the kids were out of the house, I put all my efforts into trying to get those, because I didn't want to prolong it. I didn't want.
And you don't want to take it
long.
twice.
No. Well,
and a lot of people have.
I tell you
3
quickly,
times,
I remember I
and 4
took
times.
the test. I went to Orange County. I took my test, and they tell you when you take the test, by the way, and they make it more stressful than it is. It really, if you've been to any kind of a classroom experience, I took my test. I even had time for a bathroom break during the test, so I didn't panic. And I think you told me that. You're going to have more time to take the test than you need, and I did. And then when I left, I got in, and they say to you, we're going to give you your results immediately. Now, they don't tell you after you put the pencils down, quote unquote. It's a computer. And I walked out. They handed a folded piece of paper, and they say, do not look at this until you get outside because they don't want people celebrating or crying, right? So I get in the elevator with a young. By the way, you can be any age you know as long as you're a legal adult to take this. So there were people that were early 20s all the way to people that were older than me, and we get in the elevator and the guy looks at it and goes, "Well, it was better this time." I go,
Better this time.
He said, "Yeah, I'm like 3 questions off." I go, "Well, I mean, how many? Is this your second time?" This is my fourth time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And so I opened mine up, and I'm like, okay.
So they try to get you away from the classroom far enough to where you don't hear a gunshot.
Well, yeah. It's by the way, just because you don't pass it the first time, don't give up.
Exactly.
Don't give up because you have the knowledge
easy.
and the information there, and you may be a few questions away.
And it's a lot harder than when I took the test. But however, when I left, they waited. I didn't hear for 2 weeks. And they send you something in the mail.
Oh, my God.
So you're sitting on pins and needles for 2 weeks, which is messed up.
We are going to take a break. We're excited to have the mayor of Santa Clarita, Cameron Smythe, join us on the show in a moment. You're listening to Real Estate. It's that simple.
Will you hold the line when every one of them is giving up and giving in? Tell me, in this house.
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
We'd like to thank our advertisers and readers for their loyal support since 1991.
Linda and Mo Hafizi, owners of our Valley's 2 leading magazines, Elite and the Magazine of Santa Clarita.
The only magazine in our valley mailed to 80,000 homes and businesses every month, with over 250 pages of community news and features.
Discover how the Magazine of Santa Clarita can help your business. Call 294-4444.
Superior quality is second nature to us. Just ask our advertisers.
Marla Ferris at Augusta Financial is the consummate mortgage professional, committed to helping you turn your dream of home ownership into reality. With more than 22 years in the finance and mortgage industry, Marla brings extensive experience and expert knowledge to make your loan experience hassle-free. Honesty, integrity, and attention. She's the loan officer you can trust. Marla knows what it takes to get the job done on time, every time. You'll find Marla Ferris at AugustaFinancial.com.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
This is a Rita's Daybreak. There's a huge crowd at Rita's. With so many amazing flavors, every day's a treat. Let's see what folks are celebrating.
I lost my first tooth.
No more training wheels.
My dog photo got 37 likes.
3 kids, 3 activities, 0 meltdowns. There you have it. Layer it, blend it, or drink it with Italian ice and creamy custard. So many reasons to celebrate at Rita's. This has been a Rita's Daybreak.
Take the stress out of moving. Affordable Quality Moving and Storage has been owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1996. They excel at relieving you of the pressures of moving. You can be assured your belongings are safe and will arrive at your new location, whether it's down the street or across the country. Discover the difference. AQMS, Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. Read the reviews online at aqmsnationalmoving.com. AQMS, Santa Clarita's favorite moving company. Castle Inspection is the top choice for home inspection in Santa Clarita. With over 20 years experience, make Castle Inspection your choice when buying your new condominium or home. From mobile homes to mansions, the outhouse to the penthouse, your best bet is a net from Castle Inspection. An inspection is a fair and objective evaluation of the home's physical and mechanical systems. Expert knowledge, thorough research, and clear communication are what sets a net at Castle above the rest. Schedule your appointment online now at castleinspection.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Friday, everybody. Welcome back to Real Estate. It's that simple. We are so happy you joined us. I'm Rick Garcia, along with Phil Nordella, the real estate expert on the show. Can I call you an expert?
Well, it depends. How long do you have to be?
Do you have to have like a belt, like in karate? White, red, yellow?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we're excited to have the mayor of Santa Clarita, Cameron Smythe, on the show. He's a Santa Clarita native. Proud to say he went to Peachland Elementary, Placerita Junior High School, the pride of Hart High School, and UC Davis. He was elected to the Santa Clarita City Council in 2000. The mayor... He's been a mayor 4 different terms. Did you know that, Phil?
I did.
4 different terms.
You know, I did.
He served in the California State Assembly from 2006 to 2012. Mr. Mayor, when are you going to get a job?
It's funny. I appreciate that. Real estate folks are asking me about getting a real job. So, that would be.
Good point.
Whoa.
Good point.
Whoa.
No, very good. Hi, Cameron. It's Phil Nordella. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you too. I miss you. I see you every couple of years, and that's exciting.
You see him out on the soccer field too. If you look closely.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
my kids never played soccer. So how are you?
Yeah, no, we're good. I know when hearing kind of Rick talking about the background, it's it took kind of a circuitous route. Did first elected in 2000, then the legislature, then some time off. Back to the private sector, and now, decided to come back in 2016, which, was the right decision because when I was in the legislature, my kids were little and I was missing a lot of their life, and now I'm able to, kind of have that balance of, with the city council being a part-time job, allegedly, set up to be part-time, I'm able to do a regular 9 to 5, but still. Serve my community and actually be a part of my kids' lives. So it's a good balance now.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny because I was reading a lot about what you were saying about coming back, and you had mentioned something that really resonated with me and said that this is going to be a year of healing. Obviously, with the shooting and the fires and all of the just the things that just tear your heart out. What can you tell us about that coming back and going? You had really, the last, 2 months of the year, we really were hit with kind of that 1-2 punch of the tick fire and the shooting at Saugus. You go to you start with the tick fire, just to give you an idea. It was, we were having our State of the City lunch, and as that was wrapping up at about 1:45, all our phones started kind of ticking. No pun intended, and you get the notification that there's a fire, and 3 hours later we had to initiate the largest evacuation in the city's history. That's crazy.
And just in 3 hours, with how the winds and the dryness and just how things were, just the speed with which that fire took off, and evacuating 30,000 city residents plus another 10,000 or so unincorporated. So you're looking at almost 40,000 residents had to evacuate within within 3 hours of the fire being started. And then obviously it's every community's worst nightmare to get that call from the city manager. Before the news had broken about the shooting, that he was on his way, and I was able to tell my wife at least beforehand, so we knew that that was about to break on the news. And the first thought is I have kids in high school, and first thought is to reach out to them and make sure that that they're okay, and then headed over to Central Park, where we did our, kind of the reunification and the incident command. And it was pretty, in retrospect, it was pretty rough, but at the time it was very impressive to see the way the community reacted. The school officials who, had obviously witnessed, a horrific tragedy, were still able to kind of compartmentalize that because they had a job to do, and getting the parents reunified with the kids, having to kind of separate the kids who had witnessed the shooting for any interviews they needed to do with law enforcement, and it was rough. And just on Tuesday, we formally the council recognized Gracie and Dominic, and seeing their families there is obviously it's unfathomable.
Yeah. Yeah, you get hit with this absolute nightmare, and then you're at least feeling a little bit better about the fact that the systems and the plans that you put in place actually worked. And that's tough. That's tough, you know what I mean? Because you never know, right?
No, and that's why you need outside, professionals. And I think, a takeaway from that is, those who evaluated what was done by the students, by the school staff, the community response, it was pretty well, handled. The professionals that can do kind of the debriefs, felt that the reaction at Santa Clarita was, as good as it could be. Yeah. You always do a little bit of changes, but but again, none of that really matters when you have two kids that that were murdered on campus.
Geez. Yeah.
So.
Well, on a lighter side, so when we talked about the fires before, the new thing is we've got the new fire station going on Golden Valley Road, right?
Yep.
And that'll be finished this year, you think? Is that what the?
It'll be nope. Yep, it'll be occupied. Hoping Q1 this year.
Wow.
So we've got some good things to look forward to in 2020. Again, that'll be open. We'll have the Lemley Theater will open its doors in Newhall. The community center in Canyon Country will be almost completed. The new sheriff station will be nearing completion. We're breaking ground on 4 new sports fields at Central Park. So we've got some good capital projects coming up.
Yeah, if you don't mind me interrupting you, Mayor, because two things that really the light bulb went on for Phil and I. For me, it was the sports fields. So hopefully you can be more specific on what sports those are for and where, and then also Lemley, because that's a news story that's been kind of changing every few minutes.
Sure. So so let me take the Central Park fields first. Anybody that is that either spends any time at Central Park or any of our parks knows that they are at capacity, and there is a need. And so, in last year's budget, we decided to reallocate some money and put in 4 new multi-use fields. So kind of what you already see at Central Park. We'll have 4 new fields of similar size that'll be used for soccer, lacrosse, football. Now you see cricket is becoming a more visible sport that they're being used.
Huh.
But what's important, is, and some concerns that were raised is, so those fields will be, when you enter Central Park, if you just kind of keep going, all the way till the parking lot ends, that'll be where those fields are added. And so, our city's there's a Frisbee golf course that's part of Central Park.
I'd love to do that.
It's funny to watch, yeah.
And people want to be sure that is, that's being taken into account, and it certainly is. It'll be, it'll be a new course, but will still remain. And the high schools use Central Park for their cross-country meet and their cross-country courses. And so we wanted to make sure that is still taken into account when we plan the new areas. And so that those two will be incorporated as well. So you won't see an impact to that. And then when you get to Lemley, obviously we were a little concerned as well when we heard that the Lemley family wanted to sell their business.
Yeah, this summer.
So that was kind of took us by surprise. But we had provisions in the contract that we felt pretty confident that whomever would buy the property or buy the business was going to still obligated to follow through with the agreements that were in place, because the previous city council that approved the deal, had there were some tax benefits and incentives, and so we want to make sure that that money, was going to still be used as intended. And now, I know you probably saw that Lemley's they're just now going to sell. I believe it's their Beverly Hills theater.
Yeah, that was
yeah, so they're selling Beverly Hills, but they're maintaining operations beyond that, and we expect a red carpet screening this spring of the opening of that theater. So
I can't wait.
Nice.
I can't wait.
I hope we get tickets. Do we know anybody? Like maybe the mayor or somebody that can
get us tickets to a movie theater?
Rick, the mayor doesn't have a real job. So, the mayor doesn't have a real job, so how can I get you anything?
Well, that's kind of like a realtor. Realtors.
How that works.
You guys have something in common. By the way,
I'm not sure how this works, Rick. You can't insult me, then ask me. I don't know how that works.
Insult you?
He can try.
Oh man! Listen, I have nothing but respect for you, Mayor. You're doing the people's work, and that's very often a thankless job sometimes when everybody's busting their butts trying to make things happen for their community. There was a lot of development. Every time I go on a ride at Magic Mountain, Mr. Mayor, you can see the tractors going back there behind Magic Mountain. Where's that development stand? When is that going to be finished? And will there be more developments like that one?
So, you bring up a good point. It's an opportunity for me to, kind of remind the public that, projects like the Newhall Ranch, that is actually not in the city of Santa Clarita. The areas like Stevenson Ranch, Westridge, Castake, those are parts are in unincorporated LA County. And so, those projects were approved by the Board of Supervisors, not the City Council. And it's true that Newhall Ranch was approved, and Phil probably knows this better, but I mean, many years ago, but everything was put on hold as the economy slowed down. And so, what we're seeing, I think you'll see vertical and model homes sometime this year in 2020, and I would imagine there will be residents in phase one of the Newhall Ranch project by early 2021. And as I understand, I think it's a 5-phase project with Newhall Ranch, and then there is another significant development with up the Tejon Pass with Centennial Ranch and Tejon Ranch, which will be another 10,000 plus homes when it's completed a little further up the Grapevine. So there is significant development here in the valley. Santa Clarita, we'll see what the new census comes out, but the city will be pushing probably 250,000 people within the city. The valley will be probably right around 300,000 when the new census hits this year.
It was funny that Newhall Land and Farm actually came and talked to my agents, I think the first time in 2003, and they said if all goes well, we should be finished somewhere around 2016 with all the construction.
Right.
And then they came back 2 years ago and they said, okay, so we're close. We're getting really close. And it's, you're absolutely right. Everything turned around when it came to real estate. And then, of course, the lawsuits. And, they spend, I think, hundreds of millions of dollars on lawsuits before they even break ground at all. So that's going to be an interesting thing. That'll be finished, I think,
definitely.
2030.
And then you got Lennar. I think Lennar just purchased the first phase. So, but you'll see. So 2021, I bet we'll have residents.
It's going to be interesting. The one thing that I asked Newhall Land and Farm is I said, is there going to be any access off of the 118? And they said,
right.
And I thought, you know what? That's only like 3 miles over the hill there. It would be great if they could actually just have something go over, because all the access is going to either be from the west off the 126 or coming off of Pico Canyon or Valencia Boulevard or those. So it's going to be interesting.
Magic Mountain Park.
I think the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy will put the hold on anything going through there, connecting on the 118. But you're right. As if you take you take an aerial look, and it is not. It's not far.
It's not far.
Yeah,
it's about three wood. About.
Who's 3 wood? Not
exactly. Wow.
Well, last question for you, and I thought that this was kind of cute, actually. There was a moratorium put on drive-through permits.
What?
I thought that was funny, and I thought, you know what, that makes so much sense because I almost died like 9 times trying to get in the In-N-Out burger off the old road.
In-N-Out, and then Chick-fil-A's no easy one either, right there in the mall, right?
Yeah, so I found that fascinating, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
My guess
So-
is, go ahead.
Yeah, so let me tackle that. So the concern is with some of our kind of the high volume businesses, like as you alluded to, an In-N-Out or a Chick-fil-A. You have to have some ability, I think, to really look at whether they are in the right place, because Chick-fil-A has applied to put a second location. They're in the Boston Market spot over by Trader Joe's. Mm-hmm. And, anybody will tell you in Santa Clarita that is the most difficult parking
tough one.
in the city. And so to put in a Chick-fil-A at that location, I mean, you can just see the cars they'd line up. They'd go out to Newhall Ranch Road, and the challenge we face at the city is this gets a little bit wonky, but drive-throughs are currently permitted, quote, by right, meaning that if they are in they're in the right zoning area, they don't have to go through any secondary permitting processes, and through that. But obviously it makes no sense to put in a Chick-fil-A or an In-N-Out or another high volume into that shopping center. So we had to institute kind of this moratorium citywide to look at the regulations and see, how we can tweak it so we make sure that these businesses are going into properties that actually fit. So
makes sense, yeah.
I knew that we take a little bit of take a few hits with when the story came out that we were doing the moratorium, but then if we allow a Chick-fil-A to go into that location,
right, exactly.
And I love Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out as much as the next thing.
Oh gosh,
but,
but you're right. You curse your way all the way through the drive-through there. You're right, because it really can be difficult. So, well, that makes sense. Makes perfect sense when you
think about a Sunday morning, or Saturday morning going to Trader Joe's there, or Hobby Lobby, and then you throw in a Chick-fil-A. I mean, it just doesn't.
Sure.
It just doesn't fit with that location.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, Cameron, I appreciate you spending the time with us. We've got to go, and thank you.
Well,
for
he's got to go. We're not busy at all.
Well, I'm just kidding.
Did you just listen to him for 20 minutes? He's got all kinds of stuff
I'm new
to do.
at this because I'm getting we've got to sell some toasters or something.
The mayor's got stuff to do.
What are you talking about? I'm just getting started, Rick. I'm ready to go.
Listen, I've interviewed my share of Pauls. I know, Mayor. But no, listen. Thank you. We do appreciate. Thank you for everything you do. I mentioned it as a thankless position. It's like being the manager of a baseball team, and you don't get any credit when they win, but boy, do they come after you when you lose, right? So, thank you and best of luck to everything you do.
Guys, I appreciate it very much. I'm happy to come on anytime.
Thank you. Awesome.
All right, thanks guys.
Mayor of Santa Clarita, Cameron Smythe, on real estate. It's that simple. All right, when we come back, Tales from the Dark Side.
If you're thinking of selling your home, have Phil Nordella come out and give you a free, no obligation property valuation. Just call 661-312-3561. It's that simple.
If you find yourself in an issue with the IRS and they're threatening you, or you can't sleep at night, remember this name, Anthem Tax Services. Within 2 months, they saved me $25,000.
If you are a small business owner or self-employed and owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call Anthem Tax Services today. 866-630-2694. We have saved millions of dollars in tax debt, and our goal is to reduce your tax debt to as little as possible. Call 866-630-2694. We are confident enough in our services to offer a 100% money-back guarantee if we can't put you in a better position than where you started. Call for for a free consultation, and we'll also take care of your tax case study for free, saving you hundreds of dollars. Call 866-630-2694. Anthem Tax Services, the trusted name in tax resolution. 866-630-2694. 866-630-2694.
Take the stress out of moving. Affordable Quality Moving and Storage has been owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1996. They excel at relieving you of the pressures of moving. You can be assured your belongings are safe and will arrive at your new location, whether it's down the street or across the country. Discover the difference. AQMS, Affordable Quality Moving and Storage. Read the reviews online at aqmsnationalmoving.com. AQMS, Santa Clarita's favorite moving company.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
You're going places, and College of the Canyons can help you get there. Registration is going on now for their spring semester, which begins February 10th. Take classes in Valencia, Canyon Country, or online. Need to update your professional skills? Enroll in their free career skill classes, many of which take less than 2 weeks to complete. Visit canyons.edu/schedule for a full list of spring classes. You're going places with College of the Canyons.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back to Real Estate. It's that simple. Rick Garcia along with Phil Nordella. Phil, you got a couple of listings there you want to tell us about?
I do, yeah. You know what? I want to tease a couple of them.
Okay.
The reason why, usually I want to do a listing of the week, but this is 2 listings of the week because they're similar, which is awesome. The first one is in Canyon Country. It's in Sand Canyon. It's listed for $749,000. It's 4+2. It's a great house. It's on almost a half an acre. And it's a terrific house. It's a 1-story for people looking for 1-story. The address is 16322.
You know what? They can call you for the address.
You know what?
Okay, what's your phone number?
661-312-3561. The other one.
I got to put that in my contacts. Go ahead.
Yeah, you should. Good. Or no, you memorize it. Okay, the next one is in Agua Dulce. Actually, it's 747,000. It's actually on an acre, and it's 5+4, 3,172 square feet. And it's 3 stories.
Wow.
And it's got horse facilities and everything, which is terrific. So I just wanted to tease those real quick. And if you want to see them, call me.
Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh my gosh, that's scary.
Okay, so you know what? Tales from the Dark Side is a lot of fun. I have a lot of really great stories in doing this so long and training new agents. And I told you before, training new agents in the beginning is like handing a toddler a flamethrower with an easy button on it, right?
Yeah,
you teach them a little bit and then send them out and hope that they don't burn the house down. So this one I call, so you set up your first appointment, don't forget bail money. So I had one of my agents call me up and say, hey, guess what? I've got my first appointment. I'm actually meeting someone who wants to sell their rental. And I said, that's terrific. Let me know how it goes. So she calls me up an hour later, and she said, I met him, and we went up to the door. We were on the front porch. He knocked on the door. The renter did not want to sell. They got into an argument. They started a fist fight. They started fighting in the house. It rolled over onto the porch. She didn't know what to do. So what she did was
the owner and the renter.
The owner of the renter get into a fist fight, and she's standing there, and she's like, 5 foot nothing, and she doesn't know what to do, so she calls the sheriff. And so the sheriff comes out and arrests both of them, both the seller and the renter. And at the very last thing, she says that she was driving away. her seller was sitting on the curb in handcuffs saying, I'll call you. And I thought, oh, my God, that's classic.
Man. That is
Anyway,
definitely a horror
Tales from the
story.
Dark Side.
Hey, listen, everybody, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining Phil Nordella and myself, Rick Garcia, on Real Estate It's That Simple. We'll see you again next Friday, same time, same place, 10 o'clock here on your hometown station.
Have a nice weekend.